mentioned that element of kind of trying to stay in it. I always think, are you running towards something or are you running away from something? And it kind of epitomizes that point really in terms of your management and leadership there.
Yeah, but I was relentless in my pursuit of making sure I was as successful as I possibly could for the owners of the football club. I think there's a perception today about you've got to play the right way. I always went into a football club to try and better the results and better the players. I always went into the football club looking at players and looking at a team and thinking, what are the best players that we can put together as a team that will win on Saturday? All this talk about this perception about there's only one way to play football is I find it sickly. I do honestly. I think there's more than one way to play football. I think there's more than one way for football to be played and enjoyed. And there's no greater feeling than playing a game of football and winning a game of football. The feeling afterwards is absolutely fantastic. It's even better when you're winning against clubs that have got so much more than you, and that are perceived to be so much better than you. That it's what's name. It's just a fantastic feeling. And when people criticise you, because I think I've said it numerous times. When we got promoted at Stoke, I rung Sir Alex and Steve Coppell up. And Steve Coppell said, "Tone, it's relentless. You think you're doing well. You look at a table after 5 or 6 games, you're in the top half of the table and you're flying. And then all of a sudden you'll have a run of games against Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea. You won't win a game. And from being up there and thinking, God, this is not too bad, all of a sudden you're down there. And then it starts and the scrap is on." And then I spoke to Sir Alex and he said to me, "Tone, I've watched you play," because we had Ryan Shawcross. We took Ryan on loan from Manchester United. And he said, "Watch you play. I think you're going to be, it's going to be a massive struggle for you. My advice to you is to make the Bet365 Stadium a fortress. Whichever way you do it, that's where you're going to pick your results up. That's where you're going to have your best chance. And, do it whichever way you want to do it. But one thing I'll tell you, if you're doing it right, you'll get no praise from the top 6 clubs. If you're not doing it right and they come and spank you and they give you praise, telling you now you're not doing it in a proper way." And that's always resonating with me when I hear managers going into football clubs and coming away and saying, "Oh, they play great stuff, and they've just picked up the 3 points. Yeah, they play the way the way football should be played." Yeah, okay.
How do you deal with that? So just dig deeper in terms of your mindset, Tony. How do you deal with maybe those criticisms? And so you mentioned the element of the media and the playing style. What do you do within that process to kind of deal with that?
No, it's brilliant. But what do they know? You read stuff. They say, "Oh, they're not doing it the right way. They're not doing this. They're not doing that." And things have spun. Obviously, there's a lot of talking about Arsenal playing with 4 centre halves and scoring goals off set plays. When we were playing against Wenger's team, he wanted to ban set plays. He wanted to do this. He wanted to do that. Now we listen. I knew what it would take to get Stoke from a mid-table, lower mid-table. I took over at Stoke, my first spell at Stoke. They were actually fighting relegation from the Championship down to the First Division. And over those 10, 11 years, we spun it round and went to Europe, went to a cup final, managed to beat all the top teams in the Premiership. And it was a great journey. It was a great journey because we were relentless in 2 things. Relentless in knowing what it took for us to be successful, and relentless in respect of making sure that we built an atmosphere and a togetherness at that football club that would far outweigh a team that came with a group of individuals. And that's what we worked on.
What are your thoughts on Stoke at the moment? Obviously gone down the leagues, in a bit of a tricky position in terms of Championship position. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've still got a great love for the football club. I've got undying, and this is undying loyalty to the coach, the family. Peter was a wonderful man, a wonderful chairman, absolutely lovely, lovely person. Very, very intelligent, very accommodating at times with the way I am. He worked me out pretty early and would take me out if we'd had arguments or I was losing the plot on something. He would always take me out and we'd have a meal and a couple of glasses of wine, and he'd put me back on track. He was very important to me, Peter. The family, John has taken over now, the son, and John is going through a stage that most probably his dad went through, where they were trying to achieve success, putting a lot of money into it, but just falling down. But I'm absolutely convinced eventually that they will get it right. This is a lot of pain at times, I think, for John and the family, but they're resilient people. They're very, very honest, hardworking, resilient people. That I know people criticise gambling and this, that, and the other, and all that stuff, but the Coates family, they put so much money into charities and they've put so much into Stoke-on-Trent. It's remarkable, Christy, and I just hope, I hope and pray that they will eventually. I just hope the pain doesn't last too much longer, and that they do get it right and they do get the success that the family deserve. And when I say the family now, obviously John has picked the baton up. The success that John really deserves for the amount of effort he's put into it, the amount of money they've put into it, and the love of the football club, because they do absolutely love that football club and that area.
I went to university at Staffordshire University, so I understand kind of the area and the atmosphere there. But it is interesting that you mentioned the element of ownership, and there is stability there. It's just strange how they've never really seemed to have challenged to get promoted again since that time when they got relegated a few years back.
Yeah, I think looking back, I think they obviously they felt they needed a change. That change came, and it just went away from everything that the club and the area knew, and they've got to try and somehow just get back to the basics. The area is a fabulous area. Well, you've been there. They're very honest people. They're very, very straightforward people. They do, and it can be very intimidating at times. But they're hardworking, people. They're that type that if they see something, they believe their eyes. They don't believe what other people are telling them. They look and they see and they react off that. They don't react off what someone else has said. And that's why most probably I enjoyed it so much there, because they were tough, but they were straightforward with it.